Listening changed my life. Listening is the only skill that you need, and I'm gonna explain why in this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. This is Chosen Elevates Talking. Let's get straight into the video. I know you heard the term, you talk too much, and that's okay because I struggle with that at times. However, there's ways to fix it. It's about finding the purpose, finding the reason of why listening is the only skill you need. Listening is the only skill you need because listening open door. Do you think about it? When you talk to someone, they're like, wow, finally, someone listened to me. Versus you keep talking, which shows that you're selfish because people who just keep talking, they only care about what they're saying. They don't care about what the other person's saying. They just want to go and say to their input. They just care about what they say. Think about it. When the teacher is talking and you raise your hand, excuse me, teacher, I need to say something, whatever, if you're a kid, whatever. You didn't care what the teacher, you just wanted to ask what you wanted to ask, and you wanted your voice to be heard. But what if you actually listened to the individual that was talking? You would gain way more than you just talking. And obviously, talking is great. There are times where you have to talk. There are times where you have to speak up and you have to voice, of course. However, listening is way stronger, and people don't tell you this. People always tell you free speech, make sure you talk, make sure you speak up, but no one tells you just listen. You know, actually, when I started listening to what my parents told me, I gained so much versus than me speaking, because when they would speak, I would be like, okay, like I would be like, okay, I'm listening. However, in my head, I would be like, do I really care what they think? And no, I just want to say what I want to say. Say that you did something bad. You went out super late, you came, whatever. Your parents tell you not to do this. You're in your head, you just want to talk. You're like, oh, I don't know, this is, this. My parents are telling me this. My teacher is telling me this. I don't care. However, if you are listening to what they're saying, there are people, when they speak, they're completely wrong. Yes, they are. However, if you listen to what they say, because people usually don't just say stuff to say stuff unless they're hating on you. They don't just say stuff. They actually have a reason. Is it because based on their experience? So if you try to understand and listen from what the person is coming from, you will gain way more. And this video is completely different from all the other videos. I'm giving you all real life examples. For example, one of my teachers was saying, oh, your handwriting is bad. You need to fix your handwriting because I can't read it and you can't read it. And I was in third grade at the time, and I'm like, okay, like I don't care, like as long as I get my grade. I didn't care about handwriting, but now, like through this day, I write my handwriting and it's horrible. Everything I write sounds horrible and it looks horrible. And if I just listened to what my teacher and I improved my handwriting, it would have been way better. Because I never heard of someone saying, oh, I don't want to listen because listening is bad. Listening is great. I have heard people say, yeah, if you talk too much is bad, right? Because there is a balance between talking and listening. Listening is great. 80% of what you're doing should be listening and 20% should be talking. You realize your friends or whoever you're speaking to, they like the person who listens versus the person who speaks. Because the person who listens, it shows that they care, they have empathy. I'm not saying if you talk, you don't have care, right? Yes, you have to voice your opinion. Yes, you have to talk. That's very important. But people care. Why do people go to therapists? They don't go to a therapist to hear the therapist talk, right? They do get their input, but they go so they can speak, and then they can have someone that can listen and then eventually give their input. And I'm not giving you all signs or anything that y'all can say, you should do this, you should do that. No, this is for y'all to really implement real life, for you to understand. So what I recommend is when you're talking to people, first, observe how much do you talk. Are you more of a listener or are you more of a speaker? If you're more of a listener, this video might be more just reinforced. If you are more of a talker, this video is definitely for you. Okay, so let's identify. So if you're a listener, just improve. Just maybe listen a little bit more. If you're a speaker, just cut back from speaking. Observe how people act when they're like, wow, I thought you were going to talk. People are going to tell you, they're going to be like, wow, you're not talking to somebody, you're actually listening, you actually care. Even though you did care, when you're talking, like you did care, but at the end of the day, on a subconscious level, you're gonna start caring more because you're not very quick to speak. You're slow to speak, quick to listen. Have you heard that term? Slow to speak, quick to listen. If you follow that term, if you follow that phrase and you really write that down and you really understand it and you really apply it, your life is gonna really explode very positively. Think about it. When someone's in class and the talker, they say something really dumb, and what happens? They end up detention, they end up suspended because there's so much talking. When you're in a meeting and you talk too much and you say something wrong, you start to look bad. But imagine if you listened 80% of the time, and the 20%, there's an 80-20 rule, which I should make a video on. 20% of you talking and 80% of you just listening. And I know y'all probably tired of hearing me say the word listen, but just listen. For this video, watch this whole video. Don't even talk, don't even comment. First, listen throughout this whole video. Understand what I'm saying. Maybe watch it a second time and then comment and then speak. Because doing this, you will improve as a person overall. Like I said, people are going to love speaking to you. You're going to be more of a listener. You're going to be more understanding. You're going to be more calming. You're going to be that person. Wow, that person is a therapist, not professional. That is my friend. That is a therapist, low key. You understand? So take my advice, become the listener, stop talking. And another advice I would give, yes, I don't give really strategies, but something you can do is you can tell someone, you're like, what's your opinion? Do you think I talk too much? Or do you think I listen? Or if you don't want to phrase it like that, you can be like, do you think I'm more of a listener or do you think I'm more of a talker? I'm just curious. Just say I'm just curious. They'll tell you, yeah, you're a lot of a talker. And just tell them, okay, I want to improve. I'm trying to practice to be more of a listener. So tell them you're trying to be more of a listener and then improve. So let's say someone was to speak for 5 minutes. And usually as soon as someone speak, the first 10 seconds, you just start speaking. Slow down, slow down. And say, okay, if I speak after 10 seconds of someone speaking, let me wait 20 seconds before I speak. Let me wait 30 seconds, 45, 1 minute. Eventually, you're going to be that listener. Listening improves your productivity. Listening builds trust and connection with people. So even though you don't like the idea, or you may not like the idea of listening and you love talking way more, the benefits are far greater than the talking ability. About if you're ever in a relationship or you have family members and you were that person that just kept talking. You said something wrong. You said something. You misunderstood what they said because you never took the time to understand. And that's your fault. But today you can fix it. You can fix it by being that listener, by implementing these strategies. Because listening is proven to reduce conflict. Talking, you're guaranteed at some point to cause conflict because of your talking mouth. Yeah, listening is not as simple as people make it seem. There's two types of listening. There's passive and active. A lot of you all have been doing passive listening where you're just talking, where someone is just talking and you're just listening, but you're not really understanding. Like when that girlfriend or boyfriend, they just overly talk and you don't even want to be there, but you're listening, but you're passively listening. So whatever they said, it went from this ear to the other ear and you didn't hear nothing. However, what if I was to tell you that active listening, instead of hearing your relationship or the person tell you, oh, why weren't you listening? What did I say? They're going to be like, wow, you actually listen. You actually care for me. So active listening is basically you're engaging and hearing what they're saying, you're understanding, and you're able to give feedback. Because think about with passive listening, if you just listen, kind of listening, you have music on, are you really retaining? Are you even listening at that point? Yes, you can say you're listening, but you're basically wasting your time talking to that person because you really gain nothing from that, right? And if you follow and understood what I said in this video, this will change your life.